You have been doing a lot, all of you who are here. You have been doing so much. You have been tending to your kids. You've been keeping an eye on the house the best you can. You've been making sure people are fed. You've been making sure that people have things to drink and clean clothing to wear, and that teeth are getting brushed, and that doctor's appointments are getting made, and that camps are getting signed up for, and that schoolwork is getting done, that vitamins are being taken, temperatures are being taken because of COVID. And then you've also been doing all the other things that are required beyond just the immediate sphere of taking care of your kids, right? Taking care of yourself to the best of your ability. So, keeping yourself clean, brushing your own teeth, making sure you change your toothbrush heads, which seems like a silly luxury, but these are all things that to that level, like that's the stuff that we track. Keeping an eye on your partner, checking in with them if you've got one, looking at the family calendar, looking at your own calendar, looking at your work calendar, deadlines, tracking people's birthdays, anniversaries, Zoom meetings, parent teacher conferences, checking expiration dates on food, checking levels of milk, cereal boxes, toilet paper to make sure that you're not running out of things, keeping them on the list so that one of your many runs to a store in normal times when you're not in Texas would be full of things that you don't forget to do. Pickup times, drop off times, all of the things that occupy your headspace, all of the things that occupy your mind, even when you are, in theory, just sitting and maybe having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, or when you're brushing your own teeth. These are the things that just kind of roll through your head. And without realizing it, we can actually become somebody who is caught in that process addiction. I've heard Brene Brown call it that before. The process addiction of what do I have to do? What's on my list? What's coming next? What am I taking care of? And it can make us feel, as parents, it can make us feel like we're never doing enough and that we don't have the right to kind of sit still. The joke, I don't know if people still say this, but when they talked about, when I was staying at home with my kids when they were little, they were like, "Oh, are you sitting around eating bonbons all day?" Like a different generation of people would ask me that. And I'm like, sit around eating, first of all, what's a bonbon? And secondly, there's so much to take care of and so much to pay attention to that I actually felt so stressed and so caught up in my own thought process, my own constant tape, my own loop of what needs to get done. I'm constantly making lists. Try to stay organized, and I'd still miss things, but um, it's so easy for us to get caught up in that and not realize that we're caught up in it. And so it's so important to practice and to, in my case at the beginning, to force myself to sit still, to do nothing for just a couple of minutes a day. When somebody recommended that I try meditating when I first sat down to meditate, I couldn't do it. They said, do it for 5 minutes. And I could not do it. I couldn't even do it for a minute because my head would immediately start looping into all the things, my to-do list would just pop up in my head. And it's taken me a really long time to stop that thinking addiction and to come back into just the stillness of being and the stillness of breathing. And I tell you what, it's the main thing that has helped calm me down inside because otherwise I'm just, my mind is just running all over the place. All the things I have to do, all the things I haven't done, all the things that are coming. And it's so important to break that cycle of that process addiction so that you can come back to yourself. You can get back in touch with yourself. You can come home to yourself. Because otherwise, it's just one more way as parents that we start to lose our identity. If you're somebody who, if you've had young kids, if your kids are any older, or even if they're still young, you quickly become so and so's mom. Like it's, or dad, right? Like it's very easy for us to lose our identities as parents and become, the mom of so and so. Hi, there are people in the world I know who don't know my name. They know that I am Zane's mom. They know I am Nava's mom, right? Or even now I have a dog, Callie. I'm Callie's mom now, right? But there are people who don't know my name. And I'm very mindful of this as my kids have gotten older, that I reclaiming that identity. But part of the way that we get subsumed in our role as parents and lose our identity if we're not careful and mindful about it, especially if we're not going to an office where we have a separate identity from our kids. For example, if we're the primary parent, is that we get so caught up in what we're doing that we forget how to get back in touch with ourselves. So sitting still for even just 30 seconds to start with can be a real challenge. And that's something that I posted about today. I can share it with you guys too. A 30-second challenge just to sit still and to do nothing can be really hard. So that's what I want to practice with you today.